Pan-Africanist Professor P.L.O. Lumumba challenges African leaders to learn to serve like late Ghanaian President Professor John Evans Atta Mills. Tema Metropolitan Security Council sets up 5-member committee to investigate the circumstances surrounding the boat accident that resulted in the death of 2 fishermen. A while later on the international front, supporters of Niger's coup attack headquarters of ousted President's Party. We have details of these and some other stories coming your way. Stay with us. You can find us on DSTV channel 279. We are streaming across the world on Facebook at TV3 Ghana. Do join us with your thoughts and comments. Welcome to the program. The details now. The Criminal Amendment Bill 2022, which forbids criminalizing witchcraft, has been passed by Parliament. The purpose of the bill is to amend the Criminal Offences Act, Act 29, Act 1960, to make it illegal for anybody to practice as a witch doctor or witch finder. Additionally, it will outlaw declaring, accusing, naming, and labeling someone else who is supposed to be a witch, as well as other associated activities.
Reading thereof shall not be taken until at least 24 hours have elapsed. The motion for the third reading of the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2022 may be moved today. I so move.
Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Procedure motion moved and seconded. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. We go to item 33.
I move that the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2022 be now read the third time. I so move.
Seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Motion for the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill to be read the third time. Moved and seconded. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
An act to amend the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, to prohibit the practice by any person as a witch doctor or a witch finder, to proscribe the declaration, accusation, naming or labeling of another person as a witch, and for related matters.
Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2022 is read the third time and passed.
The Member of Parliament for Medina, Francis Xavier Susu, sponsored the private members' bill.
I cannot hide my joy now. So the reason is that for all the 539 persons who are locked up in witch camps across the country, they are looking forward to us to take some decisive step to dealing with this situation. This problem has lived with us for over 100 years. We've been struggling as to how to deal with it. And to the extent that this 8th Parliament has found it needful to pass this bill into law, for me, it's definitely going to bring about a very serious mind shift. It's going to correct a lot of ills in our society. And I am confident that we are just building a better society for ourselves. The law simply says that henceforth, nobody can practice as a witch doctor or a witch finder. And it will be also unlawful to accuse another person of witchcraft. And if you are a community leader who supervises either the labeling of another person as a witch, or beating of the person, or lynching the person, as we have always been seeing, all of you will be in breach of this law. Any form of leadership at all that you hold, once you supervise or you are seen as actually participating in labeling another person as a witch, especially for the purpose of being harmed, as we have seen most of the time, we are going to be infringing this law. By the passing of this law also, it means that all witch camps stand proscribed. In other words, they are all illegal. And the law also requires that within a period, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection will take steps to reintegrate people who are being held in various camps.
Away from Parliament, the final report on the Adisadel College assault accused is expected to be presented to the Education Minister today, July 28. The hearing of the accused student's case is also expected to commence today in Cape Coast. Meanwhile, the Deputy Education Minister Ntim Forjo has downplayed perceptions that there is breakdown of discipline in second cycle schools.
I disagree with the notion that there seems to be things getting out of hand or out of control. Yes, this incident is one that is unfortunate, one that is disturbing, and it must be dealt with in its entirety. But that must not be the basis for one to draw conclusion that discipline seems to have broken down entirely in our schools. These three cases, out of the 1.35 million students we have in this country, cannot be basis to draw that conclusion. Of 900 and over SHS and TVET institutions, yes, we do not condone culture of indiscipline, acts of indiscipline in any shape or form. We do not condone that. But these cases that you have referenced are not basis for one to generalize and conclude that indiscipline is a thing of the day and has heightened, that is out of control.
Still on this subject matter, the Ministry of Education has directed management of Adisadel College to submit its report on the assault case by today. The directive is a revised timeline for the investigation team, which was initially expected to submit its report in 2 weeks. The ministry has commenced a psychosocial support system for all final year students of the school as they prepare to set for the West African Senior High School certificate examination. George Quaining takes us through some of the incidents of school indiscipline, revealing a weak supervisory system in second cycle education institutions.
The boarding school system remains an important part of Ghana's senior high school system. Acts of indiscipline are not limited to second cycle institutions alone, but the entire educational institutions across the country.
Oh! My son did do that. Okay. Okay. Hey, you're coming, Kuno.
The Adisadel College incident is one of grave concern, but there have been several acts of indiscipline in recent times. At Wa Technical Institute in the Upper East region, on Tuesday, 3 students were detained by the police for attacking and injuring a housemaster. The housemaster, Ismail Musa, was on routine inspection when the incident happened.
I only asked you to go and change the improper and wear your uniform, that's all. Then we were walking on the pavement blocks. Then he went down there. I never knew that that was his intention. So all that I could realize was he just bent down and got up and once.
Senior high school in Accra, it took police intervention to avert a chaotic scene after it was reported that a senior seized a junior's phone, which resulted in a confrontation. The public has been reacting to such incidents.
In some countries, we have what they call advisors. So every student should have an advisor, someone that they can confide in, who can be able to mentor and guide them.
I think the parents of the boy too must have a look at the boy in character, because what he did was very wicked, if you ask me. And if you watch the video, he didn't have a second thought on what he was going to do. So it means things like that have been going on in the school. But until the video comes out, you not really know that.
From the top level to the medium to the down level, there should be effective supervision. And there should be coordination, communication too should transpire.
An act of indiscipline in any school only exposes its weak supervisory system, and it takes a noble one to be proactive in dealing with this canker.
Away from that, lawyer and Pan-Africanist Professor P.L.O. Lumumba has challenged African leaders to learn from the late Ghanaian leader, Professor Evans Fifi Atamels, to serve their citizens well. Addressing the Atamels commemorative lecture in Kumasi, P.L.O. Lumumba also challenged the youth to invest in education and to do what is good.
When political leadership is synonymous with dishonesty, it comes at a time when this continent can and must rise from the quicksand of dishonesty and blatant thievery in order to rise to the firm ground of hope. It is not how long you serve that matters, but how well you serve. So the first message that we are sending out today to Africans is that longevity in office in and of itself is not what makes one great, but the quality of service. Indeed, many African countries are infamous because of individuals who occupy public space, and their greatest claim to fame is that they are dishonest, is that they are arrogant, is that they are thieves. And therefore, when we celebrate President John Atta Mills, whom we are told and we are aware was a votary for transparency, we are telling them that it is not how long you serve, it is how well you serve. We are celebrating humility, and from this podium we are telling the arrogant African politician, be not arrogant. Because the words of the Bible are still true, that if you are arrogant, there shall still appear a fingerless God, and it shall be said, mene, mene, tekel, upersin, that your words and days have been weighed and you've been found wanting. In order for Africa to grow, we must give pride of place to education, because education is what will revolutionize the continent of Africa. There are two ways of getting into history: burning cathedrals or doing the right thing. Choose you now what you want to do. John Evans Atta Mills did not burn any cathedral. John Atta Mills did not steal any money. John Atta Mills did not do anything untoward. John Atta Mills did the right thing. John Atta Mills was compassionate. For too long, we have had individuals whose only claim to fame is avarice, rise to high height. John Atta Mills is telling us, no, we should not. We have for too long allowed our institutions to be led by men and women who have no business leading domestic and village cattle dips, because even the cows will reject them.
Back to the capital, let's head to court, because the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo has declined a petition by the third accused in the ambulance sale trial. Richard Jakpa is seeking to prohibit Justice Ifiasewa Asare-Botwe from further presiding on the case. The businessman had cited bias against him by the judge after an incident during proceedings, which led to the court cautioning him against disrespecting the court. My colleague Lord Edwasari has more.
In court on Thursday, July 27, Justice Ifiasewa Asare-Botwe notified counsel for Richard Jakpa that the petition seeking the transfer of the case has been dealt with by the Chief Justice and has been declined. The third accused, Jakpa, had flared up in court when he was almost denied access to the washroom during one of the proceedings. Justice Asare-Botwe deemed his outburst unacceptable and warned him against any future disruptions, cautioning that any such occurrences would lead to contempt charges. Following the encounter, Richard Jakpa expressed dissatisfaction and applied to the Chief Justice to have the case administratively reassigned. During his cross-examination, Alex Mode noted that whereas the Ministry of Finance needed to write to the Bank of Ghana requesting for letters of credit to be established, that letter alone cannot trigger the establishment of a letter of credit unless there is a proper application from the MDA for whom the LC is to be established. Meanwhile, two motions before the court seeking the presiding judge to recuse herself and another praying the court to release Atu Forson's passports will be determined on October 12. Lord Edwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Still in court, the Supreme Court has expressed displeasure at Asen North Member of Parliament James Gyekye Quayson over his consistent absence at the Apex Court following applications he filed regarding his case. The Asen North MP was yet again absent in court when his case was called and was thus represented by his lawyers, who apologized on his behalf. Lord Edwasari again reports.
The Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo noted that the recurring pattern of Gyekye Quayson filing application at the Apex Court and not showing up for the hearing was irregular conduct and showed disregard for the Supreme Court. Another member of the panel, Justice Amadou Tanko, cautioned the Asen North MP's lawyer, Justin Terewaja, and by extension all lawyers, of dire implications if they continue to swear documents on behalf of their clients. The application by Gyekye Quayson seeking to quash the High Court's ruling on the daily hearing of his trial was found to be without merit and subsequently dismissed. Lawyers of Gyakye Quayson had argued that the High Court had refused to grant a request for prosecutors to be compelled to provide certain documents they had failed to disclose during the trial before ruling on the application. But after careful considerations of the arguments from both parties, the 5-member panel of the Supreme Court upheld the High Court ruling.
Let's turn our attention to some health stories now. The Ghana Association of the Study of Liver and Digestive Diseases has added its voice to calls to get hepatitis B treatment onto the National Health Insurance Scheme to alleviate patients' financial burden, which keeps increasing. Hepatitis B viral infection management in Ghana faces significant barriers due to high treatment costs.
Ghana has a 12.3% chronic hepatitis B prevalence, with 1 in 8 people infected. However, awareness on the condition is low, and most people are unaware of the situation. The typical cost of hepatitis B medication in Ghana is over 200 cedis, making it difficult for the average infected Ghanaian to afford treatment. This leads to many refusing screenings and vaccines, and those who test positive being unable to attend care centers, risking complications. The disease is increasing among youth, those aged 20 and above, and pregnant women.
When you are tested positive for hepatitis B, it seems you have to bear the cost of everything. It is not on the NHIS, so patients have to pay out of pocket for further testing. Even when people have maybe early signs of complications are set up and they are referred to the clinics, you write the labs for them and that is it. They can't come back because they have not been able to run the labs. The next time you see them, the situation is dire, and then there's nothing you can do than just to cancel and then give palliative care.
The group is collaborating with the Accra Regional Hospital to provide screening and vaccination for 1,000 people in Tudu, aiming to raise awareness about the disease. Hajia Muna Kuka is a trader.
We come to the market from morning till night and we barely make time to check our health status.
Unfortunately, Ghana is yet to have a national hepatitis B, HBV or C, HCV elimination plan in place.
The Tema Metropolitan Security Council has set up a 5-member committee to investigate the circumstances surrounding the boat accident that resulted in the death of 2 fishermen. The 2 died on Thursday dawn after their canoe was reportedly rammed by a patrol speedboat at the anchorage of the Tema port. The GPHA, however, has denied the accusation in a press release.
Some fishermen had gone fishing despite a ban on fishing activities until August 1. According to report, they were on a special expedition for fish to perform some rituals ahead of their festival. They were allegedly crashed by a speedboat yet to be identified, leading to the death of 2 of the fishermen. Family members and residents, mainly fisherfolk, were enraged when officials from the Tema Metropolitan Assembly arrived to pay homage to the bereaved family. We spoke with some of the survivors who accused the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority of crashing their boat after a long chase. They went on a fishing expedition ahead of the upcoming festival. Unfortunately, they saw a boat suspected to be coming from the GPHA. They chased them for whichever reason, and they managed to collide with them, which led their boat capsizing. Unfortunately, they lost 2 of their own. Right by me, the sons of the victim. 4 of them, we are told, with a very little one that is somewhere around 2 months of age. Head of the family of the victims, Ni Papachewe, wants the release of the bodies for burial.
They allege that they were being chased. Why were they being chased? Because even those that were caught inside the port, they were not arrested. We only seized their net from them. So what will be the motive to chase them? And then we recognize that they are part of our operational enclave. We do know that they do this every now and again, even though they are very much aware that they are not supposed to fish within the port or anywhere near the anchorage.
Joseph Armstrong, Gold, TV3, Tema.
A really sad one there. Let's do some international news now. Supporters of a coup in Niger have attacked the headquarters of the ousted president's party, setting it on fire and stoning and burning cars outside. The small group of arsonists had broken away from a larger show of support for the coup leaders outside parliament, where Russian flags were on show. The coup supporters accused the party of corruption and not doing enough to improve the security situation and end the long-running jihadist insurgency. The army has now given its backing to the troops who took President Mohamed Bazoum captive on Wednesday. Russia joined other countries and the UN in calling for Bazoum's release. Well, we know more on this particular story because the 64-year-old who was elected as Niger's president 2 years ago is a key Western ally in the fight against Islamist militants in West Africa. The US and France, the former colonial power, both have military bases in the uranium-rich country and have condemned the coup. You can find more stories if you log on to 3news.com. My name is Godwin Asidiba. The show continues with the legendary Roland Walker and the beautiful Cookie T. Good morning. Wow.